And bam, bam, bam. Welcome back to Tinfoil Hat Thursdays. Honestly, one of my favorite segments here on Nando Talk. Thank you all for tuning in. It's going to be a fun one. Today, we're going to be talking about Vic Fangio and what he can bring to the Miami Dolphins. We're going to go down the rabbit hole. We're going to assume that he becomes the guy. He seems to be the lead candidate. We officially interviewed him yesterday. I hope he didn't leave the building without a serious offer. Yes, he's still a defensive consultant right now for the Eagles. They're still in the playoffs. Hey, I'm sure he's not going to make anything public right now, but let's go roll with it. We've got the tinfoil hat on. For those tuning in, welcome, welcome, welcome. We throw on the hat. We go down the rabbit hole, dive into the little conspiracy theories, dive into just me rambling and going down a tangent, and it's always a fun time. Boss man, Adam, how you doing, man? Thank you for tuning in. We got a fun tinfoil hat Thursday lineup for us. A true legend. Bam. But Vic Fangio. He seems to be the lead candidate. We've got Ian Rappaport, national media reporting on it. We've got our local beat writers all in it. Like I said, my guy already came into the building. He seems to have a good relationship with Mike McDaniel. He's a veteran, former head coach with the Broncos. He does have some interest to be jobs elsewhere, but I think all signs point to him being the lead candidate to be the Miami Dolphins defensive coordinator. He does run a similar scheme to what we already have. So we do have the light personnel that he requires. It's a similar 4-3. We should be good. Switching a little bit more to zone instead of man, but it should play to the strengths of this Dolphins defense, hopefully. Vic Fangio doesn't like to blitz too much. We are the third heaviest blitz team in the league last year. He likes to rely more on his talented front four, which for the Dolphins should be good considering we have outside athletic guys like Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb. We've got those athletic guys in the inside too, like Zach Sealer and Christian Wilkins. We've got some great guys for him to work around with, and that should be a fun time indeed. I'm hoping that we see Vic Fangio as our defensive coordinator. So let's tap on the tinfoil hat and see if he can truly make this Dolphins defense elite. Because for all intents and purposes, I mean, like I just said, Phillips, Chubb, Sealer, Wilkins, like my God, right there alone, without even factoring that we can bring veterans like Ingram back, without even factoring other guys like Raekwon Davis, up and coming guys in this Dolphins defense, we still have plenty of pressure to bring up front. And we've got oozing with talent there. I would love to see what Fangio could do. I get it. He doesn't like to blitz too much. That's okay. We've got the talent that's one of the reasons why Boyer was let go. Say what you want, mixed back for the Dolphins defense. We were ranked 27th. Okay. We blitzed third highest in the NFL, and it still seemed at times we couldn't get to the QB. Granted, there were injuries in the secondary, and that affected Boyer, who likes to play that tight man coverage, and we couldn't really do that. So let's see. I think this Dolphins defense has a talent. It just needs to be reorganized, reshifted around, and re-energized, re-brought to its former glory. We have a team that has been known generally for its defense. And last year, for once, we were actually a better ranked offense than defense. We kind of took a switch around in identity. Very interesting to see if the defense can get back to the form that it had consistently throughout, and this offense can stay consistently hot as well. My days, like tinfoil hat or not, you'd have to say that this Dolphins team is a serious contender in the future. And that's what I want to see. I want to see us playing like everyone wants to see. That's just such a common thing to say. 4 quarters of great football, offense, defense, and obviously special teams. But for right now, today, we're going to talk about how the defense can catch up to that offense. Man, oh man, his number one responsibility would fix the defense that, we had the second fewest takeaways in the NFL, like only 14. And it seemed to be a big switch up again from the defense of old, where time and time again, I could go into a game knowing, our defense is going to get a takeaway. It doesn't matter. We're going to get favorable field position at least on 1 to 2 drives. A lot of the times we were forcing fumbles, we wouldn't recover them, but those aren't takeaways. Those are, almost like an attempted forced turnover. I'm blanking on the statement to call that right now. But this defense needs to get after it again. We need to play hungry. A lot of that is probably a little bit of a regression from Xavier Howard, who used to be a interception machine and a strip machine, honestly. But he's not forcing fumbles anymore. He's not getting those crazy picks like he used to. Occasionally he does, but it's no longer sticky hands X, no fly zone, coming down with the ball every time you throw it to him. Man, I need to see him regain that form, but I think if a little bit more growth from the rest of our corners as well should help a lot too. So hopefully that'll improve our our takeaways. And if Fangio's run a little bit more zone, we'll be able to bait them a little bit better. Xavier Howard was getting burnt. Maybe if he's a little slower now, hopefully playing zone will help him get back to those pick having ways, those takeaways. Wakata, come down with the ball, baby. Trucker Sean, what is up, boss? Thank you for tuning into the show, man. We got some good legends in the house right now. Tinfoil Hat Thursdays. This really is my favorite segment, man. I just throw this baby on and I just talk whatever I want. You got tinfoil hat on. I'm protected. I'm good to rock and roll, man. But thanks for tuning in, everyone. Those takeaways would go a long way, and it's kind of good that Fangio. And I'm focusing a lot more on interceptions because Fangio's defense is designed more to play towards the pass. It is a little bit susceptible to the run, and we'll talk about that in a second because I don't want to lose what this Dolphins defense had, which is for the first time in a while actually being able to stop the run. We'll talk about that in a second. Interceptions, guys, yes, we'll be playing more favorable towards the pass to stopping those high-flying offenses in our conference like Mahomes, like Josh Allen, like Joe Burrow, okay? Fangio and his disciples, and they've gone out into the league. That is what they are known for. That is what they do well. And it's one of the reasons why when we talk Sean Desai, one of the reasons why we might want him, okay, those inklings of that Fangio system, that stop the pass, beautiful. And then that's going to lead to more for takeaways, especially in interceptions. And that's what I want to see from this defense, man. Young guys like Kader Kahu, young guys like True Williams coming back, they're going to be continued to be developed by Sam Madison. And in a scheme that favors more against stopping deep pass plays over the top. Yeah, well, they'll be a little bit underneath. That's cool. That's fine. Hopefully our uber athletic safeties like Brandon Jones and Javon Hall will be able to help clear that up. Hopefully we'll get some little linebacker help that'll be able to whack-a-tha and smack those boys up, stop those underneath plays as much. But I'd rather get a little dink and dunk than getting burnt over the top consistently over and over and over again. Okay. Boy, like we said, mixed bag, good and bad, but no more are we going to see some little blitzing on third down, cover zero, and Xavier Howard get burnt over the top, no help. No. We're going to be designed to stop the pass, and that will be beautiful. We have a secondary that, for all intents and purposes, should be one of the most talented in the league, just was decimated by injuries. We'll be fixing that with corner help. We'll be signing some guys, maybe even adding a third safety, not to replace Brandon Jones and Javon Holland, but merely to complement them. Okay, I don't want to see Eric Rowe on the field anymore. His time has passed. Thank you for your services, but I think we do need a little bit of an upgrade there if we're going to be fielding three safeties. Ferron McKinley, undrafted free agent out of Oregon, nice chemistry with Javon Holland. A little bit more growth is needed from you. So we can flesh out the secondary. We can make it stronger and make it again once a strong focal point from this team. Byron Jones, see you later, man. Fangio is going to bring some shakeup on the team, on the defense particularly, and hopefully the secondary is going to get back to its lively nature, man. We won't get burnt over top anymore. That is massive, okay, to contend with, obviously Mahomes, but to contend with Josh Allen on a consistent basis, to fight guys like Burrow. I mean, we actually do play Mahomes next year, so that's a big thing to worry about, to take away Justin Herbert's favorite weapon over the top. Well, actually, he's a dink and dunk master, that little Chargers Chuck, but we rock and roll, man. Blake, what is up, man? Thanks for tuning in as well, man. We're going to having a good one. Oh, my gosh. You're going to be going since 1:15 in the morning? Hey, man, you deserve a rest. I appreciate you for tuning in. If you're winding down listening to me, man, you are a true legend. Hopefully you are relaxing, though. Feet up, kicked up, in bed, in a chair, whatever you're doing, man. If you've been up since 1:15, it's time for you to rest. Boss, man. Trucker Sean. But, hey. Back to the grind, back to the rock and roll. What was I going on a tangent about? Boom, hop back on the train. So down the, Fangio to Panthers. If I did see, that is a great news. I forgot to bring this up. Frank Reich was signed to be the head coach of the Panthers right before I hopped on. I was going to open up as an intro, but I got a little distracted. That's something to actually keep an eye on. You're right. Trucker Sean, I hope it's not, and I hope that we put a lot of pressure on Fangio yesterday and we got a serious deal out there because, yes, Frank Reich to the Panthers, as these head coaching jobs start to get filled up, obviously they're going to want to fill up their staff openings as well. I would hate to see Fangio to the Panthers. That would suck. Hopefully we have a real deal on the table for him and enough that we can call and be like, hey, I know you might be getting more calls. Remember the money. Remember Miami. Remember Florida. Oof, 1 hour. Dang, man, you are a true trooper. Trucker Sean, an absolute freaking legend, man. Hey, I hope to keep it high energy then for you if you're going to decide to roll with me, man. Now you've really motivated me. Another inspiration to keep the tinfoil hat going and rocking and tribing. So let's go, man. Oh, that secondary, man. That is what I want to see back, man. I was one of the guys who entering the season, I thought we were going to have one of the best secondaries in the NFL. I thought, hey, I mean, who wouldn't? When you saw on paper, we're gonna have Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, Brandon Jones, Javon Holland, Nick Needham, and maybe True Williams coming up, and then and then the preseason happened, and then what? ACL, 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 snip, snip, snip. It all sucked, man. It was absolutely infuriating to see the secondary that had so much promising get torn down. And it did allow emergence of guys like Kader Kahu, who I'm very happy. He was the 37th ranked corner in the NFL. 37 out of 64, with each team has 2 starting corners. That's awesome. Kader should keep growing in a year or 2. And like we keep saying, Trill Williams will come back. Brandon Jones will come back from their ACL injuries. I mean, it's going to be a nasty secondary. And if Fangio wants to play to that strength, by all means, I am here for it, man. There's talks about maybe getting another safety, a guy like Jordan Poyer, a guy like Jesse Bates. Depends if you want to go for the younger route in Bates, who's 26, or if you want to go for the more proven, established guy in Jordan Poyer, who's 31, and kind of just also stick it to the Bills. Although then also leaves, that's a double-edged sword, because then if he flops on us, then the Bills just laugh right back at us. So I do think this secondary is very promising with the players returning, but it is not done being built. It is not done being reshaped. And I am so excited that a guy like Fangio can bring this back to the former glory of this tight lock secondary. And I know Sam Madison would love to see that as well. Hey, Dolphin Dawn, thank you for tuning in, boss. Fins up, man. There we go. Ooh, look at us signing into work. Hopefully that's going in well for you, man. We're just talking a little bit of a potential world where Vic Fangio, lead candidate for the Dolphins defensive coordinator, actually signs, and how that could just reshape and reorganize his defense. Okay. I truly think that this is the guy to rock with. And if we do get Sean Desai, I get it. Fangio Jr., a disciple of his, a student of his, he can implement the same stuff. I think he's 39 years old. It'd be pretty cool to pair 2 young minds together. McDaniel and Sean Desai together for just a couple of years to come, at least until maybe Sean Desai further down the line maybe gets a job of his own as a head coach. But could be pretty interesting energy to have 2 young minds of the future of the NFL, and then looking back on it maybe 20 years down the line and be like, wow, can't you believe that both those guys were on our staff at one point? But back to the Fangio point, because as much as I think Sean Desai would be an awesome prize, I feel it as more of a consolation prize. The Dolphins right now, we have a couple of good options out there for defensive coordinators still. There's not been any guys I'm too hurt have been taken away. But I'm seeing more of the Fangio, more of the veteran move for the Dolphins, just pairing up better, because I've been saying it for a couple of days now. So if you've heard it, I'm sorry, but I truly believe that a Fangio to McDaniel could be like a McVay to Wade Phillips back in 2016. It's Wade Phillips coming off of the Super Bowl win in the Broncos. Gary Kubiak, the head coach, he retires. Boom, what a beast. And then on to new pastures, man. He goes to a new team. He pairs with the young mind in Sean McVay and becomes the old, stout mind. I was going to say tree, but we're just going to go with the mind, man, because what Wade Phillips brought to that Rams team in 2016 was a veteran stability. And you had that young, bright mind in Sean McVay, and you had the grizzled veteran, the man who had seen it all in Wade. And they just paired beautifully to go to a great Super Bowl run. And it didn't end up in a ring. They lost 13-3, but holding the Patriots to 13 points in that Super Bowl was awesome by Wade Phillips, okay? One of the most rattled times I've seen Tom look in a Super Bowl, and bada bing, bada bang, okay? Didn't totally work out. Wait, was that Brady or was that Chiefs? I don't know. You get the point, okay? 13 points in the Super Bowl is ridiculous, okay? CT, what's up, boss? Thanks for tuning in, man. We're working right now. How's it going? Oh, thanks, boss. But CT, thanks for tuning in. Little Vic Fangio tangents right now. We're going down the rabbit hole, man. The point is, I think that, and then Wade Phillips eventually moves on for the Rams, but I think that having a guy like that, a veteran mind at defense, was not only calming for Sean McVay, knowing, hey, I don't have to worry about the D. I've got this veteran, this tight end who knows what he's doing. He's got his established culture, his scheme, and he's got it in the bag. I don't have to hold his hand. I don't have to hope he learns on the job. But for McVay, I have to assume it. He also was able to pick his mind. He's a smart guy. He was able to hey, like, hey, old timer, give me the details. Let me know. Okay. McDaniel, in the same sense, okay, it's not the same age gap. It's Fangio is in his mid 60s. Okay. He's been in the NFL for a long time. He's a man who's had head coaching experience. Not all good, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay. He could tell McDaniel what not to do, what to avoid. Okay, what pitfalls are pitfalls, when hubris is needed, when confidence is needed, how to handle the little nuances, the little details of coaching, how to prepare yourself in the long term, in the long run, what he would have done differently. Okay, as someone who is 24, anytime I have the opportunity to ask someone older than me, what would you have done at my age? What can I learn from you? It's one of the most rewarding, one of the best conversations I have ever had. Okay. I'm always given great advice, from simple things to honestly some pretty profound life changing conversations I've had. And I'm just a regular person running into regular people. And I don't mean that in any disrespectful form. I just mean it's the most casual of conversations. Okay. You bring in a veteran and you can consistently say, whether it be on, lunch, whether it's on plane rides back, whatever it is. Hey, Fangio, what would you do? What would you have done? Hey, how can we work? How can I learn? How can I grow? And whether McDaniel says that is the worst advice I've ever heard in my life, now I know I'm definitely not going to do that, or that was pretty awesome. I'm going to try to implement that. I'm going to see how that rolls. Okay. It's amazing to see. Okay. And if we were talking about a young Joe Philbin, I'd be like, I don't care who coaches him. Okay. I don't care who's his veteran guru next to him. He's not going to learn. But I have faith that a smart, analytical guy like freaking Mike McDaniel, former Yale student, I have to believe he is smart enough to be able to glean any information that a veteran like Fangio has, or whatever veteran defensive coordinator we get, and learn from them. And that's why I want a vet. Okay. And let that vet be Mr. Fangio. Bada bing, bada bam. How's it going, Kat? Thanks for tuning in right now. I haven't talked to Batman in a bit, actually. I'll have to shoot him a text. I hope he's doing well. Dang. EM Baller, thanks for tuning in, man. Yeah, he'd be the best defensive coach option. I do like Sean Desai as it's the option, but we could get both that. Be a home run, and McDaniel needs to get more respect. Then, and I was talking that with Steven, I think on Tuesday. I think Caslin said that, or someone in the chat said that. Whoever it is, shout out to them, because that was a beautiful idea that was just like implanted in my brain, and it is burrowed deeper and deeper in, man. If Fangio comes in, that's another reason why I want a veteran. Okay. We do have some assistant spots available on this team. Okay. We moved on from our outside linebackers coach, assistant linebacker coach, and safeties position. A veteran like Fangio, who has his established connections, he can utilize those and bing, bing, bang, bang, fill in those holes with guys he trusts to implement his vision even further, even quicker. Okay. I would love that. But if one of those moves can be like a Sean Desai, use those connections and be like, hey, man, I'll be here for a year or two. We'll implement my system. We'll implement it good to go. And maybe I'll become a head coach because the Dolphins win a Super Bowl and it's time for the coordinators to get paid. And then, Sean, you can get promoted to a Super Bowl winning Dolphins team and continue this defensive success for years to come. And Sean goes, yeah, sign me aboard. Thanks, coach. Thanks, boss. Welcome back, student Sean Desai, repairing with former teacher Vic Fangio. That'd be the absolute dream scenario. Please, man. You not only establish the fact that we get the vet in Fangio, you get an awesome assistant in Sean Desai who can one day take the reins. And while there is talks that Fangio can come in and teach guys like Sam Madison to eventually become a defensive coordinator in this Dolphins team, which I am totally down for as well. The more bright minds in the room, the better. Okay. This isn't a kitchen. I can have a lot of chefs here. They can all be cooking up, and it's going to be the most beautiful dish we've had in a long time. Okay. The Dolphins defense dishing out pain left and right. It would be wonderful to see. So yes, Ian Baller, thank you for bringing that up. If Fangio can combine it, if he could bring Desai as well, that's awesome. Wait, who got scooped up? Oh yeah, Zimmer joining Colorado. Damn, that's interesting. Okay, I did not know that. Wow, that's going to be pretty awesome. Mike Zimmer with Colorado. Okay, that's a name off my board, but thanks for bringing that to my attention. I'm glad I actually didn't say him this time, but I had yesterday. So, beam off. And not a Lovey Smith, and I felt like he held not a Lovey Smith, and I felt like he held a super talent like Derek Stingley Jr. back for not using his strings. Yeah, and it sucked. And Stingley ended up the season on IR. I was looking at adding him in my Dynasty IDP league today, but Lovey Smith, I don't think he was given the fairest of shakes in Houston. I think almost similar to like he wasn't given the fairest shake in Houston. Next statement is kind of like Fangio in the sense that like he was a head coach that didn't truly pan out. There are, and maybe like a Todd Bowles as well. There are guys who sometimes there are phenomenal offensive coordinators, phenomenal defensive coordinators. They don't seem to get to be the best head coach. When you give them the full reins, they crash and burn pretty quick. Okay. And maybe Lovey Smith is not going to be head coach material right now in the NFL. He's got to reload, regroup. I wouldn't be opposed to him as a defensive coordinator. That he's got a fantastic beard. Okay. It's phenomenal. But more seriously, like again, it's still a veteran mind and it's still someone you can pick apart. And that's someone you can definitely, McDaniel can be like, Lovey, how can I avoid your mistakes? And I'd be like, well, it's pretty easy, man. You learn a lot from failure, and here I failed a lot, so I'm ready to tell you. So it's not necessarily the worst choice, but Fangio is still my preferred option. I like Lovey's experience, but I don't like the wide 9 scheme. Everything we ran in the past regimes, we suck at stopping the run. Yeah, that's why, like, agreed. Like, you reminded me to go back to the run point, CT. Thank you. Okay, and it's not like Fangio's scheme is any really better at the run. That is the weakness. While it does play to the pass because it is a zone scheme, because it is a little bit lighter up front, it is not the greatest run stopping scheme. It is a little bit more susceptible to that. I mean, my hope is that the players, we finally last year had a good run stopping defense for the first time in a long time. Okay. Rushing quarterbacks, some of them, there were some mixed bags. We stopped Lamar, Fields ran over us, but we leaps and bounds better than from what we were in the past. I have to hope that's more of the players we have than the scheme, because if it's the scheme, then when Fangio comes in, we might go back a little bit to being a little cruddy on the run again. But if it's the players, then, in an ideal world, yes, the Fangio scheme is more susceptible to being run on. But if you have good run-stopping players playing in those roles, it can mitigate those concerns. It can slow it down a tad. And I've got to believe that guys like Christian Wilkins, who is a tackle for loss machine, okay, he just led interior defensive line. He just broke a record, okay, 98 tackles. He is a freaking monster, okay? And I'm hoping we pay that man, give him the big bag, and keep him on this team for a long time so I can add my Christian Wilkins jersey there and take down the Tannehill, finally, for jersey number 5. But, Canes Dolphins, what's up? Thank you for tuning in, boss man. Just checking in. Boss man Bob also fins up, man. But I've got to hope that guys like Christian Wilkins, guys like Zach Sealer, who it looks like an absolute monster, okay, this season, unlocking another level, going from one of the most underrated men in the NFL to, I believe, knocking on that door, knock on that heaven's door to the promised land of being finally recognized as a household name throughout the NFL. But please, Mr. Sealer, please, Mr. Wilkins, continue wreaking havoc on the interior defensive line, continue creating pressure, stopping the run, allow Phillips and Chubb to come on the outside and look at that, rip people apart. Okay, that is how we are going to consistently get after the QB with 4 and stop the run game if we get Fangio, who is not a blitz guy and he's not really focused on stopping the run as much. That is the weakness. But when you are facing guys like Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, how did I forget that name? Patrick freaking Mahomes. Yes, I understand why we were a little bit more concerned on the pass, man. Bang orang. Oof. We're going to do interesting work, I think, this season. Thank you all for tuning in right now. It's going to be a pretty fun. It's been a pretty fun Tinfoil Hat Thursday right now. We are not ending. No way right now. We're continuing rocking. I'm just saying hi to everyone. But We also allowed the 9th most points per game, 23.5, which it's not like anytime you can hold someone under 20, 21 points, you're doing well. So 23.5, it's not killer. Okay. Granted, there were times where we could score more than 16, 17, which is obviously why we'd end up losing. But hopefully, again, tightening a little bit more on the pass, that'll help us reduce that. A big part of what Fangio does is bend, do not break, okay? Which can be frustrating at times. It's not the flashiest, okay? In which there's going to be times where we're going to be getting backs against the wall, shrinking. We're going to be frustrated. I'm going to be standing up on third down. It's going to be happening. Third down is going to be happening, which was already happening this year, okay? The amount of times I stood up for third down would lose my voice because we would just let up a 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 18, 3rd and 4. Might happen a lot this year as well. But if we are truly a bend, don't break defense, if we are truly flexing our back against the wall, but not giving up the scores, there's maybe a field goal here and there and reducing touchdowns, it'll be stressful. It'll age me a bit, and it'll only add to the wrinkles on my 24-year-old's face, but it'll be worth it. Okay. As long as we bring down that point total, I'm okay, baby. I'm okay. We keep rocking. How do you guys feel though? I think most of us can agree is Fangio seems to be our preferred choice as defensive coordinator. If we lose out on Fangio after firing Boyer, after Mike Zimmer has gone to Colorado, okay, are you frustrated or are you just we're on to Sean Desai? Because I'm down for that. If it's a bit riskier, but I'm still okay with the vision of this Dolphins team. And I think that Mike McDaniel, as long as he's being given the opportunity to have his guy, maybe he entered year 1 and they said, look, Mike, we love you. You seem very promising on offense. We want you to work on implementing your scheme. Use the connections you've built on offense. You hear everything there. But excuse my language, Mike, you don't know dick about defense. So we're going to let Boyer do it. There's a little continuity there. And then afterwards, they said, Mike, oops, it didn't really work out too well. We're sorry. We're moving on from Boyer. Here's the keys. You drive us to where our next defensive coordinator is. And I'm okay with that. It's a lot of pressure to put on a year 1 coach to fix it offense and keeping a defense elite. So I get them not wanting to put all that on his plate year 1. No excuses year 2. You're a head coach. Okay. Well, whoever he picks better be the right guy. And I'm hoping it's Fangio. I'm hoping it's this veteran. I'm hoping it's the smart move. I'd feel kind of weird if we go Sean Desai and Fangio is still out there. I'd be like, a lot of usefulness on our coaching staff that needs a little bit more calming presence, a little bit more experience. Very green staff still a little bit, but we got that. We got the good vibes. Hey, we got that Jetsons vibe. Hey, man, I've got to improve this tinfoil hat still a little bit. Hopefully slap a little bit of Dolphins gear on it. It ended up looking more like a helmet, but it's all good, man. I feel like I'm more on like my little Rebel Alliance vibes, but it's tinfoil. But I like the Jetsons as well, man. I'm not super happy, but I'm down for Sean Desai. He had the 5-ranked defense with the Bears without Khalil Mack. Yeah, I mean, they also didn't have Akeem Hicks for stretches at the time as well. The Bears defense was pretty impressive for what Desai had to work with. I'm again Fangio Jr. I'm down to go for the younger option because in an ideal world, if it pans out, if that's a home run hit, then you've got bright minds in Desai and McDaniel for years to come, and it just feels awesome. Okay, it just makes us feel like we are set and ready to go for years to come until Sean Desai eventually becomes a head coach, which is why I like Fangio and then Sean Desai. So it just feels like it adds more years of a great defensive coordinator stretch for us. But hey, it's still, like I said, I'd be okay with Desai. Yeah, that's another thing though. Ian, you're right. Okay, so Jonathan Gannon is a top prospect to be a head coach. Right now, Fangio does work with the Eagles defense, but he is like a special consultant. Jonathan Gannon is a defensive coordinator. He's been talks for, jobs like Houston, Indianapolis. The Cardinals are still open as well. If Gannon goes to Houston, there could be talks of the Eagles just turning to Fangio and saying, "Hey, do you want to just come step up and be defensive coordinator?" It could be, you know, a very tough thing for him to pass up on. Yes, you could convince him saying, "Hey, new pastures, new scenery, man. What could you do with the new project, a new team?" Pretty pretty hard to pass on for a team that's in the NFC Championship and that could be a Super Bowl winner or looks like be at least get there. Um, could be very tough to pass on. I'd have to hope again that we have said already a big offer for him. That we have said, Fangio, look, I know that there's possibility of Gannon going to Houston. You stepping up in Philly is an option. Here's a couple extra million in case that happens. We'll work it out. Ross, you have the money. Don't cheap out on us now, okay? There's no coach salary cap, right? So splash the cash, my friend. Lay it out on him and say, look, man, you and I come. I'm going to pay you. What do you need? 10 million? 13 million? How many dinners are we talking about? How many Heat games? How many? Whatever. What do you need, Ross? Make it happen, Captain. I need you to just bring Fangio here, whoever it is. Okay, splash the cash, make it work. A Nando Damas segment. Hey man, I'm always down for more little segments and hats, man. If I could accurately I might do that when I'm looking back at stuff, man. Like when I'm doing my recap video on like a little Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and I said they'd be the best wombo combo, best wide receiver duo in the NFL, and then Tyreek Hill had his best receiving total, and they had the third best receiver duo total in NFL history with 3,000 yards. Yeah, I'm down for little Nando Damas looking back on it. But most of my takes are uberly positive, so they're not always straight hitters, Nostradamus predicted disasters. Nando Damas, that'd be pretty cool, actually, yeah, because Nostradamus predicted disasters. I'd just predict bright, glorious things. Wow. Dolphin on. You have successfully inspired a segment. I'm literally screenshotting this right now and adding it to my notes. Bada bing, bada bang. Good timestamp too. Now I know where to go back to. This is beautiful. Dolphin Don, a genius. Cheer for the Niners so Fangio to Miami can be announced Monday. Agreed. That's actually very smart. Cheer for the Niners because it allows Fangio to start coming over here to be a little soured with the prospects of Philly, and I'd be excited for that. Adam, you're very smart. Smart man indeed. Okay. A lot of talk about cheering for San Fran because it's finished what McDaniel started and blah, 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 and all that. But we have a new reason. Do it so Philly season ends and Fangio's Dolphins career begins. I am down for that. We got younger, more athletic defense. Eagles players are getting old. I hope Fangio prefers our personnel. Agreed. Especially because I believe his ultimate goal is to go back to being a head coach. The stage that Miami would give him of, going from the 27th defense to being retooled, repurposed, and going out there and regaining its former glory and going out there and being one of the most prominent defenses in the NFL again. That's a very tantalizing option, taking the reins of a team that is a Super Bowl contender already, that's in the NFC Championship, that could be in the Super Bowl, maybe even win one. It's not the same for Fangio, and you're right. They are getting older. I have to hope that he prefers our personnel and what it could do for his career as well. I'm totally fine with him thinking about his career first. I'm hoping that he thinks that Miami is the best thing for his career. Hope that he thinks it's the best project, that he's got the best tools to work with, that he can actually succeed on that project. That yes, he can dream of us being one of the best defense, if not the best defense in the NFL, but that is a dream based in reality. Ian Baller, I would absolutely adore that. We freaking ride. Yeah, Ross going to pay him head coach money to get it done. I'm okay with that, man. Rock and roll, Adam. Like we always say when we got to pay players, my friend. It's not my money. Hey, Mr. Ross, let me straighten up my appearance. Mr. Stephen Ross, I'm talking to you. If you ever see this, probably never. I'm upgrading my seats. Me and my 5 buddies. That's right, 6 seats. We're all going up to the 100s. So hey, you can afford to pay Mr. Vic Fangio a little bit of head coaching money. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Good to rock. And Dolphins on. Always appreciate that little positive vibes, man. Thank you for that one. It's a good one. Little Nando Talk, man. That's going to be a good one. I've got to figure out a hat, maybe a little beard, a little action. It's going to be a good one. If Fangio wants to head coach again, coaching of our defense will help him get a head coach job later. Agreed. Exactly, man. Way more than Philly. It just puts him on a better stage. It's a better project. Like, it's just better on the resume instead of saying, like, hey, yeah, I helped the Super Bowl contending team continue being a Super Bowl contending team. I helped the team that lost a little bit of a step on defense, found its way on offense. I helped that team leapfrog the promising offense. It's still going to be a great offense, but that defense is going to recapture elite form. And my God, we are going to be one of the scariest teams in the NFL. That is the hope with a guy like Vic Fangio. That is the vision we see with the tinfoil hat on, okay? If we're going even goofier with it, man, when we got the IMAX glasses on, bro, just all I can see is squibbles with this, man. But the future looks indeed bright, indeed, man. Fangio, if we can go from the 27th ranked defense, let's say the 7th ranked, right outside of the top 5, boo-hoo. But a 20 spot increase? Yes, please. Okay. In an ideal world, we're a top 5 bona fide elite defense next year, going up in takeaways, stepping back a little bit in blitz rate, but hopefully our win rates stay the same, stay consistent. Okay. And we can absolutely annihilate teams. Okay. Suffocate them on defense, run all over them on offense, literally running the ball all over them, and turn it into a track meet on the outside with Tyreek and Waddle continuing to just blaze past people, man. That is the future I see for this Dolphins team. Think about it. A Dolphins team that increases its takeaways, that bends, doesn't break, that, takes a little bit of pressure off the offense, but also fields them beautiful field position. It was already helping a limited offense in years past, in the first 2 years of 2020, 2021 of the Tua times. With such a great defense, our limited offense was already looking at times very serviceable. If we can regain that form, you had the offense we had this year, which is what everybody thought was going to happen. And it just was why at one point we thought we were going to be Super Bowl contenders. If that dream becomes reality, oh my days, who's stopping us? Honestly, man. And I'm going to pull up the schedule again, because why not let it fly? But honestly, we need this defense, okay? And I get there's a little bit of a fear as to wanting to focus a little bit more on the run. But if there's that same personnel, those same guys, that same front who is effectively stopping the run this year, they can do the same thing next year, and we can focus on stopping the pass. Look, on the road, we're going to play the Chiefs, the Chargers, okay? The Bills, obviously at home and away. But those are teams right there. That's 4 games that are going to be heavy passing games. That a system like Fangio is designed to stop those teams in their tracks, make their lives a living hell, force them to switch more to the run or to just go underneath. A little bit of a linebacker help we add to the free agent. Maybe a guy like Tremaine Edmonds, a guy can dream. Maybe we go for cheaper veterans, but whatever it may be, a little bit of help there, a little thumpy thump, and bam, man. We'll be able to effectively quell those little underneath routes, stymie the run game a bit. But as long as we are effectively eliminating the overtop shots, we're slowing down their passing game in their tracks, taking away their preferred weapon of attack, I'm all for it, man. Okay, we are going to have also the Cowboys, another team that likes to pass the ball. We'll see how the Raiders stack up with quarterback. Maybe the Broncos if Russell Wilson decides to regain some form. I hate Russell Wilson. I think he sucks. He sucks since 2015, but he can throw the ball deep. But he's shown it before with DK and Tyler Lockett. If you can do that again with Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, Tim Patrick would be coming back from injury. We're going to have to stop some quarterbacks and some passers, and that's why I want that Fangio system, man. I've already conservatively said 11-6 with this roster, with this team, and hopefully with a good defensive coordinator. I think we've got a real shot of 11-6, 12-5, making some real noise in the playoffs. And I get it. I was the guy who said 12-5 this year for the Dolphins before all the injuries, before at one point at 8-3, it looked like I was well on track for that. No, it did not happen. But maybe this year, I'm down for it, man. Carlos, thank you, man. Good talk, good positive, man. I'm life talk. You are, hey, brother, good Dolphins talk and positive. I am a lifetime Dolphins fan from Fresno, Cali. Carlos Garcia, name sounds a little familiar, but if not, welcome to the channel. Appreciate you for tuning in, boss. Always positive vibes here on Nando Talk. It's still the only way I go, man. Positive vibes only, man. Always a pleasure. Boss, man, be fair. What's up, Andres? How's it going, man? An absolute New York legend. Syracuse stud. What's up, boss? 11-6 is my guess. 7-2 at home, 4-4 away. I think that's a pretty astute guess, man. Like conservatively at home. Well, okay, no. At home, positive vibes all ahead. I don't think we should lose a single game at home. Okay. The best team on that roster is the Cowboys, and Dak Prescott just showed us again in the playoffs why in the big games this buddy flop adopts. Okay. But I've said, let's say we drop one, maybe to the Cowboys, maybe to the Giants, teams that have shown some promise. Who knows? I think we're going to beat all our AFC East opponents at home. The hope is 5-1. So let's say we go 8-1, 7-2 at home, though, is pretty safe, though, Andres. That's pretty smart. Looking away, though, lose to the Bills. We beat the Patriots, beat the Jets. Let's say we lose to the Chiefs. Okay, so that puts us already at 2-2. We'll beat the Chargers, we'll make that series 2-1 over the last couple of years. So that makes us at 3-2. Let's say we lose to Philadelphia 3-3. We destroy the Commanders 4-3, and we beat the Ravens again with or without Lamar Jackson 5-3. So yeah. Oh, I did it to myself again. I gotta say I'll make myself 7-2 at home, and we'll be 5-3 away, and that still gives me 12-5 because that's just how I roll, Bipe. I just can't. I can't do it on any other way, man. Yeah, that also could be it, man. And I'm also Hispanic, bro. You know, like I know I have a buddy, Carlos Granados. Shout out the legend. So I know a lot of Carloses, man. But way too early prediction. 17-0, then 3-0 in the playoffs. Who says no? I got a tinfoil hat on as well. I mean, we should all be having tinfoil hats on Tinfoil Hat Thursday. It's the only way to go, so we can just be ourselves and continually vibe, man. I you know, when I was 10 years ago, I did say that in 2022, the Dolphins would, on the 50th year anniversary, go 17-0, you know, in the regular season. I didn't know we were going to have, you know, but the point is, I said we were going to be undefeated. I said we were going to go to the Super Bowl in honor of the 50-year anniversary, and bada bing, bada bam. It was nowhere near that. But maybe I was a year off. Maybe Adam, maybe we're onto something. Us tinfoil hat hooligans. Maybe we're onto something. Maybe we know that a little 17-0 is in our future, man. It'll be a nice time to see, man. We could end up looking like 06-08 Steelers, man. I'm hoping some big things for this Dolphins team, man. Blake, hoping for some nice Super Bowl runs in our future, man. I miss watching Big Ben lay people out with his shoulder, man. That was absolutely wonderful Super Bowl thing. Kevin Lee, thanks for tuning in, man. I didn't even know. I was scrolling up to the chat in case I missed anything, but all I'm hearing is rumors all day today. Rodgers to Jets, blah, blah, blah. Don't see it. How about you? I see Rodgers coming to Miami before the Jets, especially with the state taxes here. Yeah, I'm not sure if Rodgers goes to the Dolphins, but I 100% get your points. I would see him coming to the Dolphins before the Jets at all points. Nathaniel Hackett, when he was a head coach for the Broncos, okay, and when they were willing to give up all those first-round picks, second-round picks, Shelby Harris, Noah Fant, Drew Lock, all of that overpay for Russell Wilson, I'm sure they were willing to offer that exact load up for Aaron Rodgers, and it wasn't enough to bring A-Rod over from Green Bay to the Broncos. And I've got to believe that's partially Aaron Rodgers saying, I don't want to go with Nate. I don't want to see Mr. Hackett. And smart move on him because it looks like Russell Wilson's career might have been blown up. I don't see him saying, okay, now I want to go with offensive coordinator Hackett. I think it's another bonehead move by the Jets. Once again, people are falling for the trap of, hey, we have a Hall of Fame level quarterback. We're going to trust that the young offensive coordinator is, or that the offensive coordinator is the guy who helped him do that well. No. Okay. That Hall of Fame quarterback just found a little bit more in the tank that year. It happened with Gase. It's happened with Philbin in the past. And it looks like the Jets are falling for that trap once again. You'd think after Adam Gase, they would have learned, but not looking so likely. Bada bing, bada bang. Yeah, it's all good, Carlos. Welcome to the show, man. I'm glad you're here, man. Always a positive vibe, you know. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We are doing well so far. I'm conservatively, not conservatively saying 12-5 is my brain. Is what I got to. 7-2 at home, 5-3 away. The fact that we have 9 home games is honestly beautiful. It's one of the big reasons why I'm upgrading from section 349 to hopefully section 138, where my buddy Zach is. Shout out you, boss man Zach. If you've seen some of the gambling shorts we've had, he's a great guy, great buddy of mine. But hey, second hardest schedule doesn't help, man. It's going to be. We do have a very brutal away schedule, man. They will get our left-handed QB a right tackle this season. Hopefully, man, because hopefully that will keep in track with Kevin with how we'll be able to keep Tua healthy, man. I don't think it's a coincidence that not only did Tua get hurt, but Teddy and Skyler were also banged up at several points in our season. Yes, Tua does have his issues with durability. Yes, we do have to address that. Okay, tinfoil hat or not, we know that Tua is, wow, this tinfoil hat has ruined my hair. But we know that tinfoil hat or not, Tua has to work on his durability issues, okay? Whether you can really train for a concussion, I don't know. It's not like, what are you going to be like Dobby from Harry Potter 2, just smacking your head against the drawer and just trying to get yourself toughen up. He's getting a special helmet. There's talks about him learning how to fall and whatnot, but getting a right tackle, Andres, you are 1,000% right, man. That is going to be the biggest thing we can hopefully get to when it comes to keeping our quarterback healthy. Like we said, I think it's no coincidence that Skylar Thompson, Teddy, Tua all got hurt. Offensive line was letting up some brutal hits at some points. But hey, we'll talk about backup QB. We'll talk about keeping Tua healthy at a different time right now. Hopefully right now I'm just talking about what this Dolphins defense can do for this team. And hopefully, we're assuming an ideal world where our offense is humming and we don't even have to worry about the defense, man. That's what I'm rocking with, man. I'll be at the Ravens, Commanders, Jets, and Eagles games. People, that is something I'll talk about with you then, For me, I've never been to a Dolphins away game yet. I have been to a Titans game in Nashville, and I got to see the Titans-Lions game where Derrick Henry had the nasty stiff arm. But I've never been to a Dolphins away game. So I'm actually considering going to the Eagles game, the Chiefs game, or the Chargers game, just for the awesome, epic football experience. And I think it'd be a cool thing for the channel, too. If I could do like a little vlog and, get a little bit of action there. It's a little tailgate experience and just interacting vibes, spread these positive vibes to another city. I'm very good interacting with other fans. I'm not afraid of any sports fans in America, man. I come from Peru where people literally, derby games, rivalry games, people literally die, okay, in the streets, at the stadiums. You've got to be very careful, okay? So I know what situations to put myself in, and I think going to an away game regardless, even in Philadelphia, I think I could be bopping and riding and having a fun time. I think that'd be a great thing to bring with. And people will be texting, man. If you're going to the Eagles game, that's definitely something, man. Maybe we can see Harrison, man. That'd be absolutely sick, man. See Mr. Blanco. Okay, that'd be a nice time, man. Hey, Justin Couard. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Thanks for tuning in, boss. Pleasure to have you around right now. There's no way Rodgers or Brady is coming to Miami. The Finns have been as clear as they possibly can about this. Tua is the guy in 2023. Yeah, man, I always have just this little quote just because it's exactly what Greer said. I would say with Tua, he is our starting quarterback. I mean, I don't know how he can say it any more clearly. Yeah. So it's pretty certain, man. You are spot on the money, Justin. That's why I'll talk about quarterback and I'll talk about Tua and backup QB on a separate video. And I have in the past, I actually did it, I think on Tuesday. You can tune into that. I separated into 2 little chapters, but I kind of repeated what I'm about to say right now. There are so many things to talk about the Miami Dolphins this year, whether it's the schedule, whether it's free agency opening on March 15th, whether it's the draft towards the end of April, whether it's all these little holes you need to fix on offensive line help, on the secondary depth, fixing a little bit middle linebacker helps, more running back room, getting a defensive coordinator, finishing our coaching staff hires on the defensive side of the ball as well. All these things come before me. I can even think about adding a quarterback when my GM and my head coach have already voiced their support. Whether you think Tua is a starting quarterback or not, that's cool, man. There's other things to talk about. That's fine. And yes, I have a Tua jersey on there. So, of course, I believe Tua is the guy. I'm down to bring in Rodgers. I'm down to bring in Brady. I'm with whatever move Greer and McDaniel bring in, whether it's bringing a new starting QB, whether it's bringing in a backup guy who's going to push Tua, whether it's just a solid backup who's just going to be that and nothing more, a solid backup. I'm down for it all. but there are times to talk about that. And until we sign a defensive coordinator, I'm going to figure and focus my energy on that spot, on DC, because that's just who I am. Bada bing, bada bam. They are super rowdy there in Philly. That's kind of why I want to go, Blake. So for me, I'm an Alianza Lima fan. Like in Peru, like I don't have it lined up right now. I'm not going to waste our time showing us some soccer footage as well. But like I've gone to games where literally the government of Peru sends out an advisory, and the mayor goes, if you go to the derby game, we've already been told by the police that the Bara Brava, like the rowdy fans are going, like they are they're going to be bringing in weapons. They're going to be bringing in stuff. We'll be having the SWAT team. But if you get hurt or killed, it is not a responsibility. And if you buy a ticket, that's on you. Okay. That's how I go to soccer games in Peru. So Philly's rough. Philly's rowdy. I'm not saying I'm hardcore or tough or anything. It's just the reality. I know which situations are nasty. Philly fans, I know you guys get a bad rap. You guys are tough. You don't kill people. So we should be good to go. We should be good to rock. Buffalo next year, man. Hey, Adam, that Buffalo is also another one I want to go to as well. Jets. I've got a lot of buddies in New York. It'd be a cool time to go to New York City, but I have no interest in seeing the Jets play twice a year. I already have to see them once a year. So going to Buffalo would be pretty cool, man. And New England, Boston's one of my favorite cities, but I'm not a big Boston people guy. So that's all I'll say about that. Justin has a good question, though. How do we handle Byron? Obviously, he isn't coming back. Cutting him is a huge dead cap hit. How does that play out? So that's another reason why I want Vic Fangio and I want a defensive coordinator, because you get that stability in. He brings in his game plan, and I've got to believe he'll start using his connections, his moves, and saying, hey, Byron is a good corner who's gotten healthy, has restructured his contract, but he's not going to be a Dolphin. So it's time to move on for him. And I think we can hopefully at least get a third round, maybe second round pick for Byron. I saw someone say maybe like a third and a fifth. If we get a second round pick, that'd go a long way for Byron. Maybe we can get another corner in the draft, and we'll add a little bit more talent to that room, or free up some space so we can get someone in free agency as well. But I don't think Byron Jones is going to be a Dolphin. I don't think we're going to cut him. I think we're going to trade him, hopefully for some actual compensation. The worry is, though, that the higher the compensation, the more of his contract will be taking on. But regardless, that is still better than having a player who doesn't play or who shouldn't be on this team after what happened last year. And yeah, we can move on from Byron, whether it's all of his money or part of his money. It'll still alleviate the books, and hopefully draft compensation will help fill up some spots as well, whether that's corner, offensive line. It's going to be interesting to see how the Dolphins balance which holes they can figure out in free agency and which holes they can figure out in the draft. Without a first round pick, with late second rounders, third and fourths, I want to see us be creative with our moves. I'm a Dolphins fan first. That's why I'm rooting for Tua. But if you can't stay healthy, maybe Derek Carr could be our QB. He has a strong arm. Of course, he's from Fresno State Bulldogs. Seen him a lot. Oh, yeah, you're from Fresno, Cali. That's pretty cool, man. So you've got some pretty interesting insight on Derek Carr. He's a guy who has some mixed evaluations throughout the NFL. I like Derek Carr. I don't know how much of an upgrade, if at all, he is from Tua, but you can't knock him on his strong arm, his work ethic. He's a guy who's passionate about football, and I hope the best for him in his career in general, okay? It's a shame that he's going to be moving on from the Raiders after what he's given his sweat and tears into that team, man, and especially after they brought in his Fresno State friend, Devontae Adams there, FSF right there, Fresno State forever. But it's tough, I'd hope that maybe Carr goes to a team that can maybe bring Devontae Adams with him as well and free him from the pit hole that is Las Vegas. But we'll see how that shakes out as well. Again, but you bring up a great point. I'm a Dolphins fan first. I'm a fan of Tua because he's my Dolphins quarterback. If he is no longer the Dolphins quarterback, I move on to whoever is the Dolphins quarterback. That's just how the game works, baby. So it's no personal. It goes to all the players on our team. I love all our players. There are some few that stay in my heart when they leave, like guys like Jarvis Landry. I'm sure guys like Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, no matter what they left the Dolphins, whether they came back or not, like they were still Dolphins forever. You know what I'm saying? There are players who that's personal to everybody, but as long as you are a Dolphin currently, I'm going to root for you. If we get a new Dolphin, I'm going to root for them as well. That's how it goes, man. I'm the kind of guy who got hyped when Alec Ingold got psyched, man. I was screaming for a fullback, okay? Like I was back in the 1970s. Let's go! Okay? I'll get hyped for anyone, okay? Hopefully Gardner Minshew back at QB, though. That's my personal little take on the situation. I love the mustachioed man, Gardner Minshew. Ooh, a capable backup, young, 26 years old, not too pricey, but can still have a nice upside to at least push Tua, at least be competitive, but still remain fiery if he stays as the backup QB. I love that for us. But hey, man, it's Ross' team, so it's his call. Exactly. At the end of the day, none of us coach, none of us play. So our impact on the team is pretty limited. Yeah, we can give our money, we can give our support, and it's cool to feel like that's part of us. But realistically, guys, and it's tough to accept sometimes, we don't really have much bearing on what happens in this team. Okay, we just are along for the ride, and that's kind of the interesting thing in sports. It's nice to be able to sit behind the end zone, wave my fingers, and think I'm affecting the kick. It's nice. Besides getting up on third down, there's not much you really impact. And really, getting up on third down requires everyone to get up on third down to really make your impact known. And even then, a strong offense can counteract that. You still just causing discomfort. But that's really where your impact gets known. Getting up on third down, getting up on defense, being loud inside the stadium. Aside from that, we don't coach, we don't play. So it is Ross. It's his call. Hope he makes the right one, man. Think that much for a guy that didn't play at all last year, a guy that clearly screwed over his front office. So the way you would sell him, Justin, is, okay, Byron is a guy who, yes, he prioritizes health in front of the team. You can't knock a player for thinking about his health. At the end of the day, athletes are only as good as their body is. So if Byron thought that was the best thing for his long-term future, so be it. But it's one of the reasons why I also think it's fair to say, I don't want you to be a Dolphin, and I'm not going to really be praising your songs once you leave as well. Thank you for your services, but I think it's time to move on from Byron. You could try to sell him on the fact that this guy is a crazy athlete who is fully healthy, took a year off, is ready, raring to go. Okay, Byron Jones was never a technical savant. He was always an uber athletic guy, a guy who was breaking records at the combine with broad jumps, with verticals. This is a beast of a man. If he's fully healthy, then yes, I do believe you can say, hey, this guy can play corner or safety, whatever you try to put him at. He's a great athletic DB. Give us a third rounder for him. Give us a second rounder for him. Obviously, if we get a second rounder, maybe we say, hey, we'll take half his contract off your hands, but give us a second rounder. So who knows? I do think we can sell Byron, though. He's not an unmovable piece. He's not useless. He does have value, so that's good. Tinfoil Nando, who started wilding already, man. Hey, man, Tinfoil Nando already. No. The tinfoil, I get it. Yeah, so the tinfoil is normally the tinfoil I bring it out. I busted out breaking glass out of emergency, guys, for guys who are wilding, and it protects me from people's takes. But right now, I've got it on to let my takes be free. Okay, to let nothing block it out, to just stream of consciousness, let it flow, bada bing, bada bam, keep it a chugging along. Choo, everybody, all aboard the Nando Talk Tinfoil Hat Thursday train, man. It's pretty nice, man. Car sounds good to me. And hey, man, like in an ideal world, obviously this is way too expensive. It would never happen. You could bring in Carr to try to compete with Tua, and whoever wins. But obviously Carr's bringing him in is a situation where Carr wants to go to be a undisputed starting quarterback. And it'd be almost a luxury to have Carr and Tua obviously on the same roster. So you'd have to move on from Tua. But again, we'll talk about QB further on. Yeah, Carr's had a lot of chances to prove. I more just feel bad for Derek Carr because of what happened to David Carr, man. He's nothing spectacular. He's nothing crazy, which is why I don't think he's that big of an upgrade, but I could see why they want to switch over to more of a stronger arm. Not sure why the owners and coaches can't see or refuse to see the kind of player Tua is and that he can't stay healthy. I think it's just so they can bring in the ticket sales. Honestly, we need a new QB. See, I get it, Kevin, and I get it. We could feel a little disgruntled sometimes, man. And I have heard the take of, oh, Ross only cares about the money. Ross only cares about ticket sales and he wants his business. I get that. And I've never understood that argument in sports. Okay, if an owner cares about his team making money, about being the highest value it could possibly be, well, then having a Super Bowl 50 years ago, not being a contender realistically since the 90s, and in the 90s not winning a ring either, then it's not the best business model, okay? If season ticket prices are this expensive, we just sold season tickets out for the first time in years, okay? For the first time, we finally had drummed up enough interest to have a wait list. We need, if he wants to make money, he would have been building a contender. He would have been building us a team to be proud of a long time ago. We would have been winning a Super Bowl. Maybe we would have already won a Super Bowl because that's the best thing for business. Okay. Then you could charge whatever you want, bro. If we won a Super Bowl in the last couple of years, I would pay an ungodly amount of money. Okay. To continue to keep my season tickets. I don't know if he's setting up a mediocre team, setting up an injury riddled team just to generate sales, just because it's a fan things want. Like, if he's doing it for business, he's a smart enough businessman as the 43rd richest man in the world that he knows the best thing for his business is presenting the best product possible to give the highest prices and just rack out on money. Okay. That's how it works. Okay. We're not going to keep paying high prices for a mediocre product. If he wants to make the most money and increase prices, needs to provide a high-end product. And that's what Ross is trying to do, not only in stadium experience, but I do believe in slowly working and building on a team. I don't think he's going to cheap out on us. Like, I think Ross is not the smartest guy, but I don't think he's purposely, we're going to make sure the team stays mediocre, I think Ogba returns. We're obviously tight on cap space and moves need to be made. Seems like the odd man out and what will be over a highly paid D line especially after Wilkins gets paid this offseason. It'll be interesting to see how Chris Greer reworks these deals, if he's going to backload some of them, if he's going to rework around some of the money. It's one of the reasons why I think Byron Jones has got to go, because we've already got a lot of heads being paid. It is an expensive D line, but not necessarily. Phillips has not gotten paid yet, so I don't know if Chubb will if Ogba will necessarily leave. Yes, we'll be paying 3 big contracts to 3 defensive linemen, but it's doable. We'll have to see how Greer reworks that around. However, if there is moves to be made, we can move around Ogba. Again, I'm not opposed to it. What's your opinion on why we stick with Tua then? I mean, we need more than 9-11 games out of a quarterback. Again, so I'm not trying to talk too much about QB, but I guess we've shifted enough to this point that I might as well. So we got the tinfoil hat on. My thing with Tua is that in the years past, yes, we're talking about injuries, we're talking about durability, and he seems to have injuries a lot on his body, whether it's the ankle, whether it's the lower hip in college, whether it's the rib, his finger here in the NFL, whether it's concussions. The doctors have already said he is not more likely to get more concussions than any other player in the NFL. The likelihood of him having a 2-3 concussion season, depending on who you ask, I think it's 2. The doctors say, and I'm going to believe doctors, but I digress. Whether you think it's 2 or 3 concussions, the likelihood of him having another season like that, very low, very low. Fingers, the ribs, the ankles, they're not really injuries that correlate. So it's either do we believe that Tua is made out of glass, or do we believe that he's gotten severely unlucky? Okay. And it seems shitty to believe that this is my opinion, but I do believe we have to regress a little bit to the mean at some point. Okay. Smaller size guys, they either break down or they hold up at some point in their NFL career. And as a positive guy, I'm going to believe that Tua is going to hold up. I'm going to hope that if we are rocking with him, it is because the Dolphins have the confidence, they have the faith that they're going to build around Tua, that whether it's his coaching staff, his trainer, his ability, they're going to build him up, and they're going to put him in the best situation to succeed, protect him on the offensive line, protect him, his head, protect his body, whatever they need to do. And then, of course, get a good enough insurance policy, an actually competent backup, like we used to have when we had guys like Henny, when we were screaming for Matt Moore to get thrust into games. Guys that clearly Teddy Bridgewater isn't. Guys that Skylar Thompson could be, but maybe is not yet. Okay, so yeah, I'd be down to bringing a guy like Gardner. I'm still down to improve if we think we can get a bona fide guy at QB. My thing is, I'm not willing to sell the farm and trade first-round picks, a lot of draft capital, trade away guys like Waddle, Wilkins for QBs who have their own injury concerns like Lamar, or who are older like Rodgers, or even ancient like Tom Brady. Tom Brady will be a free agent, so it's different. But I still think the best thing for this Dolphins team is to plan around Tua being healthy, having a good insurance policy, hoping that we regress back to the mean. Look at guys like Breeze, who injured the first couple of years and then out of nowhere, body solidified, and then really didn't miss games until the Saints, he hurt his finger when Bridgewater had to back up for him. But I still think that you have to build a team, fill in these holes, flesh out the secondary, make it a little bit more deep. Get three good safeties, okay? Get a deep secondary, get a strong offensive line that has depth at tackle, that is not going to fall apart with a couple injuries, because we already have an injury-prone left tackle as well. Add a little bit of help at running back, middle linebacker. So many holes that I get it. I want to add a QB and pretend like everything will fix itself, but I know realistically we need more help than that. So I still think the best thing is to go for fix the team and hope that we have our QB on our rookie contract that is good to rock. Well, so there is also that scenario. Like Vic Fangio could decide maybe, hey, Byron Jones, and thank you, Kevin, for your questions, by the way, man. Always appreciate it when people help me flesh out the show. So thank you, man. Can Vic help X and convince Byron to stay on? I think that's an interesting scenario where, again, it looks like maybe Xavier Howard took a step back. Maybe he's a little older now. Maybe switching over to a little bit more zone instead of such tight man consistently. That'll help Xavier Howard be able to bait a little bit better, get some picks, but just play a little bit more to his strengths as he gets older in his career. He's no longer spring chicken. And if Vic Fangio, as a veteran, says, no, why would I trade Byron Jones? I'm not getting any value. We're not going to get any value, guys. He could be an upgrade, and he says he's ready to rock. If a veteran like Vic Fangio says, I can make Byron Jones work, I can put it to work. If Vic Fangio says, and he can convince Byron to make it happen, he's convinced me as well. And I hope he's convinced us all, because that's one of the reasons why we all thought our secondary was going to be so dang nasty entering this season, or entering this past season, is because of what Xavier Howard and Byron Jones had done in the past, playing to each other's strengths, complementing each other in a beautiful way. We questioned whether we had two true cornerback ones. It was more like we had a true playmaking corner and a true shutdown corner. And if Vic Fangio believes he can get that back, if he can do that, then I am all for it. Kevin, great freaking point, man. I would love that. And then in that world, though, we might actually move on from a guy like Emmanuel Ogbah, because we got a lot of big contracts on defense. But who knows? Again, Chris Grier is a cap wandering wizard. And it's, on one hand, you're a fool for believing the cap is real, but on another hand, you're also a fool if you just think that the cap is fake. It's somewhere in the middle. So it'll be interesting to see how Grier manages that around. Yeah, exactly. Tua has no concussion history this year. Doctor said he's not more likely. The helmet upgrades would be a huge help. Upgrade the O-line. The logic is we should be good, but that should also say we should still plan for backup quarterback. Okay. And before, the last thing I say about QB is, you believe everything a doctor says, he would still be wearing masks, just saying we all know what happened to Tua. Let's not try to figure out what the real issue is, giving up points or interceptions. I mean, I believe the doctors, bro, and I'm not going to get into a COVID talk on the Dolphins podcast, man. But I've actually never had it. I have asthma, so I'm just a beast. I'm built different, bro. But hey, back to reality. I believe in doctors because I didn't go to med school. That's just me. But it's real, but can be manipulated. Exactly, Russell. The cap is real, but can be manipulated. There are tricks and wonders. And in the same way where I am not a doctor, so I have to trust doctors, I suck at math. And clearly, Chris Grier, for whatever your opinion on him, Chris Grier is a math wizard. Okay. My man knows how to manipulate the cap. My man knows how the little numbers work. To me, numbers, you might as well be a foreign language to me. It is dastardly, my friend. What is up, by the way, Cap for Life? I don't know if I said hi to you earlier, by the way. Thanks for tuning in. Russell also, hi, hello. But I'm interested to see, especially because when it comes to the cap, I got asthma too, bro. Rock on, Trucker Sean, man. Asthma for life, man. I just got a new wicked inhaler, man. It looks like a freaking ruler, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty hefty duty though. I'm saying I've got bad asthma. Like, I would know if I'd gotten sick. It's one of the reasons why cold weather games for me is a little hard, man. I've got to strategically plan when these games are. It's going to impact whether I go to Buffalo, whether I go to Philadelphia. I did go to Syracuse my freshman year, but I literally got pneumonia 2 times, bronchitis 3 times in 7 months. It was too hard for me. Why is one drive opening right now? Stop it, computer. But yeah, man, asthma's tough, bro. Super Bowl winner. I say Philadelphia wins it all. Now that's a great point, and I will be doing an AFC, an NFC championship breakdown. Championship Sunday is phenomenal. Probably do that on Saturday, maybe Friday. Although Monday to Friday is strictly Dolphins news, but hey, well maybe Saturday might work. But Super Bowl winner. I say Philadelphia wins it all. Philadelphia winning it all would be frustrating just because then we would have less time with deciding Fangio before he comes in, and then maybe, things get murkied up with that situation. So in my ideal world, San Fran beats Philadelphia, and then between the Chiefs and the Bengals, I think a San Francisco 49ers Chiefs just gives us the best Super Bowl, man. I love what the Bengals are doing. I've got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase on my Dynasty Fantasy Football team since 2020, 2021 for Chase, but since he's a beast, okay, and they're a monster. But I still don't think they are the perfect team. They're still mainly relying a lot on what Burrow is doing, I think if Burrow goes to the Super Bowl, I don't think he'll win. I don't think he can beat San Francisco. It'd be a great game, absolute bloodbath. But I still think that a Mahomes versus San Fran, Andy Reid versus Shanahan would just be an absolute choice for Super Bowl. But then you got to give it to Mahomes for his second one, man. Because after that, I think Chiefs, it's very safe. I think it's going to be an AFC win. You put me on the spot, Kevin. We're going to go with the Chiefs, man. I'm going to go with the Chiefs because I think this is Mahomes. He's realizing that this is probably one of the last windows before the AFC quarterbacks of Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, hopefully Tua, maybe Josh Allen if he can get over that divisional round hump. Trevor Lawrence is looking like he's on the up and up as well. The AFC is going to give him nightmares for years to come. And if Mahomes doesn't seize this opportunity right now and wins the Super Bowl here, who knows what will happen? And he could end up being like Rodgers, a guy who wins one Super Bowl early on and then struggles because his conference just gets tight and racks him up, man. I have seasonal asthma as well. Never had the COVID. We're legends, bro. We just know how to take care of our lungs, man. I'm on albuterol and Zimbacort, however you spell it. Yeah, I have albuterol as well, boss. It's a tough going. Agreed. Yeah, we'll leave the COVID out. It's going to be a Bengals 49ers Super Bowl in your opinion. I could see that happening, man. A Bengals 49ers. Like, that'd be an awesome Super Bowl as well. And again, as a guy who owns Chase and Joe Burrow in my Dynasty League, and we're back-to-back Dynasty League champions, I love to continue to see their growth, and I want to keep seeing them ball out, especially after Bean's idiotic statement, the Bills GM, idiotic statement of, I didn't want to suck bad enough to get a Chase. Well, look where Cincinnati is now, and look where Buffalo is now. Freaking idiot, bro. But back to the point at hand. I think a Niners-Bengals Super Bowl would absolutely be phenomenal as well. Brock Purdy versus Joe Burrow would probably be a cooler moment than a Brock Purdy versus Mahomes. Although the thing with the Niners-Chiefs for me is it goes to the two paths, the two options. There's on the one hand, you can go find the generational quarterback in Mahomes, which every team wants to do, but struggles to do so. And then you don't need as an elite of a team because you have that generational player who bridges the gap. And the Cincinnati is trying to go down that route as well. But you can also do what the 49ers do and just say, hey, who cares who our quarterback is? We have such a disgusting team, so well built, such a nice scheme through and through that you can put anyone who you want at quarterback there and they're going to succeed and thrive. So that's why I think the 49ers Chiefs is also just a cool Super Bowl. But Glad to see Greer praise. So many fans calling for his head. Outside of the missed Igbo pick and questionable trade, give him a first for Chubb and instantly give him a $100 million contract. He's been solid. Oh, he's had his misses, man. He's had his misses. I just think he's had his hits as well. It's kind of funny how some of his first rounders are a lot more questionable than his like second and third rounders. Like guys like Hunt and Brandon Jones in the 2021 and the 2020 class are awesome. Guys like Austin Jackson and Igbo a little bit more questionable. So this mixed bag is out on Greer, but I don't call for his head necessarily. If he's staying on the team, he's staying on the team. You know, we're ready to rock. Philadelphia winning it all, that would be tough as well, just because then, what's up, Bo? Like, by the way, thanks for tuning in, man. It'd be tough because, you know, Jalen Hurts would he win the Super Bowl? I mean, hey, credit for him, man. But, you know, it'd be like, dang, we could have gone a second round quarterback and, you know, maybe just added straight talent in the first round. That would have been cool. But who knows if Hurts would have succeeded here. It's a big what if game. And this is a tinfoil hat, but this is not the NFL. I'm not that deep into the conspiracy theories. But yeah, Philly has a great shot to win it all. They're a great coach team. And Nick Sirianni just annoys me sometimes, man, his attitude. I'm a positive guy. I like to talk my talk. But he's a little over cocky, over corny sometimes, man. I'd like to see him get a little humbled. What's up, boss man? What's up, my brother? Hey, man. Brother Irvin, thanks for tuning in, man. Always a pleasure, man. If so many fans are calling for general manager's head, then maybe those fans should not be ignored unless you like being force-fed lies for another 25 years. Honestly, man, like I think our fans have every right to vent. I mean, as positive as I want to be, I think everyone has the right to vent. Everyone has the right to choose how they want to fan. The reason I am positive is because I know that no matter how much we vent, I mean, no matter how much we call for people's heads, we don't work for the NFL, man. If we did it, those fans, if we all knew what we were talking about, most of us would have jobs, or at least one of us would have jobs for the organization or something. But we don't. So I don't think we're being force-fed lies, but it has not been anything to be happy about, you know. But it's not something like that we're going to sit here and go to Hard Rock and go open arms and demand change. Hopefully there's change. It's going to be a long off season, though, brother. No worries, man. Bet. Yeah, San Francisco with Philadelphia is going to be a little tough, man. It'd be a big defensive game for them, honestly. Cincy versus Philly would be a crazy Super Bowl as well. Oof. Burrow hurts. Yeah, hope Mahomes is healthy. I hate playoffs being decided by health, man. Like, you want to see it nice and healthy all throughout, man, for everyone. Hopefully. It was my decision for Miami free agency. Create cap and go get 4 players. Edmonds, Bates, Bozeman, and Mayfield. Ooh. Yeah, man. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, whatever order it might be. Yeah, no worries, Cap. I'm actually probably going to be winding down soon to be eating as well. I have to be somewhere at 4:30, so I've got to eat a little bit before then. So I'm just trying to answer a little bit more questions. But for those who have tuned in, I generally do appreciate you, man. And for any new listeners, before you guys do go, I know there are other shows as well. Make sure to like, drop a comment, subscribe. Let me know how I've been doing so far. It's always a fun time. Tinfoil Hat Thursday is my favorite segment, but I try to go live Monday to Friday. I did miss yesterday. Apologies to that. School was a little hectic, but hey, that's the Twitter. That's the YouTube. Always positive Dolphins vibes wherever you want to catch me. So check me out if you haven't already. It's always generally appreciated. Nothing more fun than connecting to more Dolphins fans and just getting a vibe and chop it up with you guys, especially in the comments. It's been a blast. That's why I've been switching over to more live stream as well. Just get to talk a little bit more. Start off with a little bit notes and then just talk to the people. You know, it's always a fun time. So thank you all for giving me that platform, man. But yeah, draft Darnell Wright. Ooh, nice little tight end, man. Darnell Wright, you mean like the? Oh no, I'm thinking about Darnell Washington, the Georgia tight end. He's like 6'7", 270 pounds. Darnell Wright, yeah, I'm down to draft a tackle. Jack Campbell's a nice middle linebacker. I had to get a little later. I think he's from Iowa, I want to say. I'm total stab in the dark there. Got to study up a little bit more on that end. But hey, the draft, I'll be doing a draft breakdown soon. I promise. Hey, Ruski, if you're watching this, man, I'm sorry. I know I said I'd be doing a draft breakdown this week, and I did not. I still have time, though. The week is not over yet, so I might do that for Friday. But great reminder there. I agree, though, Russell. I think that having guys like the flexibility and the cap space to get strengthen our middle linebacker room, our safety room, our corner room, our offensive line. Maybe a little help at running back if wanted. Finish adding a little help to quarterback as well would go a long way. What I really want to see though is defensive coordinator finish up that move and get it along nice and a humming, guys. I'll be good and ready to rock. But thank you all for tuning in to Nando Talk today. It has been an absolute pleasure. Wow. Shower hair plus tinfoil hat absolutely ruined it. But thank you all for tuning in to Tinfoil Hat Thursdays. I think this is my favorite segment. I will always be going on Thursdays, starting usually at 1:30 to 2-ish, depending on how my Thursday class ends. But we'll be solidifying it, getting going, and talking for an hour and a half, slapping on the tinfoil hat, and just letting it unwind, man. Going absolutely fun, fantastic time, slapping on the hat, and just whatever crazy may take me, man. Justin, I only found you by chance while searching for Fangio updates on Twitter. Def enjoyed the talk and insight. Just Selden, I'll be back, man. Take care. Justin, I genuinely appreciate that, man. To anyone new shows, but to any new people who subscribe, it's always appreciated. But Justin, thanks for the feedback, man. I always wonder sometimes if I should stream it out to Twitter as well. It is my bigger platform, though. So, hey, if you want to follow on Twitter as well, I always got some funny. I like to think I'm funny. Some funny tweets out there, man. But Justin, not looking to disappoint, man. Hopefully, if you enjoyed the positive vibes, always a great vibe, man. Carlos Garcia, guys, see you like as well, man. Hopefully, you're enjoying in Fresno. Everybody who joined in, Russell, Cap, Canes, Dolphins, 1989, Trucker Sean, Bob Young, Dolphin Don, Adamy, everyone who watches, bro. It's always a great pleasure. My homies in section 349, shout out to season ticket homies. Hopefully, we'll be in section 138 soon, but always a pleasure, guys. Until tomorrow. Well, for a little fins up, chins up Friday. You see the words on the side. You think today was positive. Tomorrow is an even more electric episode full of fins up positivity. Hopefully some more news on a little bit defensive coordinator talk, maybe some further speculation. But fins up, chins up Friday. I'll be bringing some draft news and some free agency talks as well. Maybe I'll make a fins up, chins up Friday / free agency Friday. Actually, Free Agency Friday has a much better ring for it. We'll see how it is, but thank you all for tuning in, man. Trucker Sean, hope you enjoy, man. Up since 1:15 in the morning. That's absolutely brutal, man. You deserve some rest. You're an absolute trooper. Always a pleasure having you on. When any of the OGs hop through the channel, it makes me always feel a little bit more special. So I appreciate everyone for the support. Thank you for tuning into Nando Talk. A great chatter, great positive vibes. The one thing I do to struggle is long outros, though. So thank you for tuning in to the little Vic Fangio Tinfoil Hat Thursday, man. It was a pleasure. And as always, bada bing, bada bam. Subscribe for more action. And I will see you tomorrow. Fins up Friday, chins up Friday, or Free Agency Friday. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you all tomorrow. Let's get Vic Fangio. I messed it up, but thanks for saying good night, man. You as well. Enjoy your night. And Carlos, thanks for tuning in, man. I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for that, man. Now, we do the outro again. I'll do a different one. Oh, that's a Christmas one. Comment below which one you enjoyed the most.